Tips for physical therapists from prosthetists. This falls under the category of my number one plea for when you're working with your less abled patients. Get them to the point where they can do things independently by themselves. Part of me feels like I shouldn't have to mention this, but because I see this over and over, I think it's so important to express. That's why I put it under the category of plea. So if you can get your patients to the point where they're doing appropriate exercises on their own when it comes to, say, just going from sit to stand, stand to sit, standing and doing balance shift exercises, say within a walker, by their bedside or in front of their wheelchair, maybe doing stepping exercises without actually walking. When they can be safe and do those independently, it makes such a huge difference in their ability to drive their walking forward. And sometimes it's missed where you'll have an opportunity to be doing physical therapy. You'll be working towards all the right things, but you won't have all the therapy time that you need to get them to good independent walking, or to get them to good independent walking with just a cane, or to get them to the point where they're not using anything at all. And concentrating on getting them to where they can take power and control over what they're doing and give them practice that's meaningful and get them towards work hardening and building their endurance and doing it in a way that relates, where they start to connect the dots to their actual walking, is so crucial. So my plea, think about that at the beginning of your therapy with some of the less abled patients that you care for, especially the case in like a skilled nursing facility where they might be a long-term resident, or where you know that because of the insurance that the patient has, you have a very limited therapy time. If you can be thoughtful about what can I do to make sure that they are comfortable and safe while they can then be doing independent exercise, please think about that from the start, not as a last moment, oh, therapy's ending today, what should we do? And I just like to tell one simple story about how effective this can be. So I had a prosthetic patient, it was above knee patient, that I forget the details of it, but because of the nature of the accident and what was going on with his quote unquote sound side, the physician would not let the patient walk. But the physician would let the patient do bedside standing exercises at the point where we got his prosthesis to him. And so that was the focus. Physical therapy just came in, instructed him how to do sit to stand, stand to sit, balance shift exercises, and stepping exercises. And we'll go over those things in a future video. But because that was the focus, and that's all this patient could do, and this patient absolutely wanted to return to walking, the patient got in the habit of doing that. And it was a fantastic experience because that's all that patient could do. I think it was for 3 months. Finally, the physician said, you're good to go on your sound side. And quite literally, that patient, because of that 3 months of his doing those exercise and training, walked away from his bedside. And after first physical therapy appointment, ditched walker, cane, and everything else. So the effectiveness of just simple exercises that can be controlled and safe, that the patient is responsible for doing, is so important. So, my plea with these more challenging, less able patients is right from the start of your therapy, be thinking, what can I do to move them to independent exercise that's meaningful, both emotionally for them and meaningful in being able to advance their abilities when I'm not around. So I hope you'll be thinking about that. And look, if you have questions about what that might be, feel free to write me in the comments. I'd be happy to answer those questions so that we can collectively be making our patients better off. Wish you well. Bye.